A bright and beautiful morning here at our studio in Lagos. Wow, it's the weekend already. And it's really been an amazing ride here at the breakfast team from Monday, and now it's Friday. Good morning and welcome to Ray's Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying? And we're thrilled to start the day with you, our valued viewers. On this vibrant, youthful platform, we tackle the conversations that matter most and concern the very important demography of the society, the youth. Today is Friday. Our Friday is usually our tech and innovation segment, and of course it's about to be an exciting ride. I would be your anchor for today. My name is Oluchi Ominka, and today again I'm here with God's Beauty Israel. Hi girl.
Hey baby, how are you?
I'm good. How are you too?
I'm beautiful, thank you.
I can see that. So, I wanted to see this as me starting a series, or I wanted to use our morning banter as a series of what I go through every day.
Okay, tell me.
The typical Lagos journey for me. And I'm like, hope my viewers will not see this girl as a girl that is always ranting and complaining. But
it happens.
today is not a rant, it's something beautiful I saw, so I'm going to talk about it
Tell
too.
me.
So while commuting from my area to this place in the bus, usually I always complain about bad manners, how some people are talking loudly, playing loudly. But today was quite different. Firstly, the people I sat with were very considerate. They noticed that they were bigger than me and they were squeezing me. And the man, in a very jovial manner, he just said, sorry, we're big. I can see that you are, pelenge in that sense. But he didn't get me offended because I think he was just trying to understand, and he was quite fair and nice. Now, what's the highlight of that road trip is that he was with his partner in the bus. So there was a lot of lovey-dovey. This single life did not pay me rich today. So at some point, the woman would just rest on his shoulder. They'll be gisting and laughing. And I just noticed that I wasn't feeling angry as I would in every, commuting to work. And I felt like, okay, we'll let the singles breathe, but it's a beautiful one to see. So for Friday banter of my road trip, today on was quite exciting, and I didn't face a lot of bad manners today. I hope next week will be better. So tell me, how has yours been so far?
Nothing special. It's it has just been there.
But you look dazzling though.
Thank
There's
you.
something with the purple and how sparkly it is.
I mean, I'm God's beauty. Exactly.
So you have to rep the name.
That's it.
Interesting. Can I call you Dazzle for today? Hi, Dazzle.
God,
All right, our dearest viewers, thank you for always sticking with us. We would like to take this short break, and you can already guess what's going to be displayed shortly. It's Today in History, and we're highlighting two fascinating milestones. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back, viewers, and thank you for sticking with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on all our facts that has been displayed, and you can do this by reaching us through our phone lines. They are open. Please call us on 0702-500-7749 or 0701-424-2420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please make our weekend by going now to the official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune in to channel 145 on your Go TV, and do not miss this for anything. Now let's take a look at what's making headlines today. We'll be scanning the pages, just two papers today, The Guardian and of course the international paper, The Independent paper. Very interesting. I don't think we've looked through that this week, so it's a new one. Let's see what's happening there.
All right, straight into the Independent newspaper. Main headline said Stella plays royal trump card in critical White House summit. Secondary headline, that's at the top red banner, we have sex charge misogynist Andrew Tate flees Romania for Florida. Then secondary headline, that's below the red banner, black font, we have Hollywood legend Gene Hackman, wife and dog found dead in Santa Fe home. The one I want to quickly touch on is the Stammer players royal trump card in critical White House summit. Now, the UK Prime Minister Stammer met with former United States President Donald Trump at the White House. During their meeting, Stammer handed Trump a letter from King Charles inviting him for an official visit to Britain. Now, this meeting was important because Stammer wanted to build a strong relationship with Trump and ensure that the UK and United States work well together on key issues. He was also trying to secure Trump's support for agreement on trade and the Chagos Islands and a long-standing territorial dispute. Now, even though Stammer made efforts to win Trump over, which I actually find that very fascinating because it's very hard for you to have a an interesting relationship with Trump if there's nothing if there's nothing Trump wants to gain from it. Exactly. Now, Trump did not agree to provide strong security support for Ukraine, which is something we already know about. Now, this raises concern about whether the United States would continue to back Ukraine if Trump returns to power. I think that question really depends on if we have like another person that is not acting like Trump. That's the truth. That's the only way we would see, you know, the United States give support to the Ukraine. And that's only if the Ukraine have not yet, you know, submitted their mineral resources to Trump. Exactly. Which is, I mean, something that is very dicey. So in a nutshell, it's just talking about...
sorry to cut you, but when you say submit the mineral resources to Trump, it seems like it's not exactly Trump you're submitting, it's to the United States of America.
I don't understand. What's the difference?
There's a difference because saying to Trump already gives the notion of an individualistic thing that
because
is
that is how it's looking like of the United States.
Of America.
Is it going to also benefit these persons as well? That's the point, exactly. But you will not say, look at this human being. You will not, you will not say that because of the security or aid that you are delivering to them, it's why you want them to be dependent on you. It doesn't really make any sense. And honestly speaking, we don't really know much about what Zelensky's plan is right now. If he's thinking of, because you know the last time he said he wants to step down, he's thinking of stepping down. And like I said, I don't think that's like a solution.
That's not it. That's like running away from
your problem.
Exactly. Who is going to start it?
Exactly. So I don't see how that is going to solve the problem. So it's either he look at what they have right now, and if they can probably train some persons.
Let me ask you, Gosbiti. If a nation is actually struggling, you know that there is really nothing you can do to help yourself out of it. Is it such a bad idea to totally submit to a higher nation in that sense who can help you out of your misery till you are stable enough to gain the independence, as we call it? Is it such a bad idea?
It's really not a bad idea, but again, it depends on the country that you want to be dependent on. There's some kind of country that once you're dependent on them, it's going to take almost forever for you to become independent on your own. Do you understand? So it's definitely going to take a lot. And I mean, let's look at it. The only thing that the United States is helping them do is just security.
Security.
Do I even said it just exactly? The thing just came to my head.
Help us with that. We'll be
the thing just came to my head.
But
I mean, I really don't know what's, like I said, I really don't know what's going on with the Ukraine government, but I just hope that they're able to figure it out. Because again, from my own point, I don't see how depending on the United States government is somehow going to help them.
Should they look for some amnesty in that sense from other countries?
Exactly, and that's
France,
that's
I mean, that's one of the. It's not just United. There's Russia. There's
there's Russia. The people that they are fighting. Are you okay? But that's the reason why there is this conversation between the UK Prime Minister and the United States.
Same.
You know, exactly, because the Prime Minister is speaking to him and telling him that, oh, you see this country, they actually need your help. Do you understand? And still yet, he's still refusing. So it's a very dicey situation. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys.
And you're happy at this point not to be a Ukrainian, right? At this point, would you rather be a Nigerian or a Ukrainian? You'd be a heavenly citizen.
Answer that?
A citizen of heaven. All right, let's see the Guardian newspaper. The major headline reads, still on this fake drug issue, war against fake drugs. How systemic inefficiency, complicity aid multi-trillion naira illicit trade. At reps hearing, federal government rules out inheritance tax in reform bills. NAN's Action Aid demand release of kidnapped Benue varsity students. Mass wedding, Kebbi pays 54 million naira as bride price for 300 couples. Statutory revenue rises by 622 billion naira as federal government, state and local governments share 1.7 trillion naira. Federal government to review electricity tariffs for Band B, C as customers subsidy hits 4 trillion naira. Chaos and confusion trail claims to Lagos Assembly speakership. Above that says Obasanjo's and 7 ex-leaders seek debt relief for African countries. And the last story here reads, Air Force investigates as officers kills 1 and injures 2 in Kaduna. Very interesting. But you know me, I'm a follow-up girl. I like to really know what happens from all the stories we take on Monday. And since we've been talking about tariffs, yesterday we had a conversation on, you know, the DSTV and the telecom tariff increase. So now that, you know, electricity tariff for Band B and C is about to increase. And I saw this comment somewhere that was like, Nigeria, it's that time again. The government has once reminded us that adulting in this country comes with premium subscription fees. So now what's the whole thing about it? So there's this idea, not idea, but a notion right now, or something in play, that there's debt in the power sector, 4 trillion naira. And, you know, many times when we have debts like this in the country and certain sectors are trying to come back and not collapse, the onus will now lie on the consumers or the citizen to be able to augment till things can come back to normal. So we're looking at Band B and Band C tariff being reviewed. And that means that, you know, for some time, I think the tariff generally for Band A across the board has, you know, caused everybody to question and all. But it seems as though maybe it was Band A that was questioning the more. Now we're seeing that this is also going to affect B and C. And it's almost like no good news, honestly. Nobody likes to wake up in the morning to see that things have been increased, especially when we see that things are still stagnant in some areas. And the government has come out to say that the reason for these tariff increases across different sectors, the power, the telecom, is because certain sectors are about to collapse. And if we don't want them to collapse, we need this increase. At the same time, are we not also collapsing? Are we not? We were discussing about consumer behavior. And I was going to ask the guest yesterday, I think it just crossed my mind that should we really predict our behavior, our spending reducing? But if we look at it, I think Nigerians still have a way to spend regardless of whatever economic hardship that we're going through. 30 December last year taught us that people will spend even when the economy is crumbling. But this is already becoming like real life thing. It's no longer a film trick. It's becoming a whole lot of burden. Tariff increase is eminent for Band B and C, as well as the telecom that we're still even hoping can get a reduction. And that's all the story we have here. Something for just laughs. I think it's for laughs, though, because I've never heard this one in my entire life, my whole 20-something years in living. It says, mass wedding, Kebbi pays 54 million naira as bride price for 300 couples. Now, the reason why I say this is funny, because I saw a tweet someone sent to me yesterday. A man was lamenting about this whole bride price thing. He really loves the girl. I think the girl is from Eastern States. Pardon, you know, our Igbo people.
Probably from the Imo State.
So the bride price was about 1.7 trillion naira. Everything they listed. He was going to pay school fees for the siblings, the normal obligatory fee in that sense was 500,000. A list of many things. And this guy is just probably on the average. How much is he earning? Maybe 350K a month or 400. You're telling him to pay 1.7. So he was in this dilemma about going on with the love of his life. And his parents or family relatives were telling him that, go and look for a Yoruba or a Delta girl, that this one is not even worth it at all. And I'm like, if he was in Kebbi now...
That's wrong,
at that point, they might say it because why should a woman cost 1.7 to have in my house? And I'm still going to take care of how many she has children. That's a whole lot. I'm speaking like I'm not an Igbo girl, though, forgive me. So looking at this story, I now remember that tweet. I'm like, if the man was from Kebbi now, they could have helped him with the whole bride price thing. But that's just for laughs, though. Laughs are not for laugh because you can only laugh about something that is not pinching you. I'm sure that man that has to pay 1.7 million now is not laughing.
The truth is, he somehow, one way or the other, he'll be able to afford it. If the girl is worth it. Loan?
Yes. The only way they can afford this is when you go and borrow. And we see how weddings in Nigeria are these days. People borrow to just have one flamboyant, lavish thing.
That's the problem. if you're actually bullying for the right cause, there's no problem now.
This
yeah,
girl
but
must
if
really be worth it.
she has to be worth it.
This
But
girl
why are you even
must
getting
really
married
be
to
worth
someone
it.
that is not worth it? I don't understand.
You know,
exactly.
All right, let's just end the story there. We'll take this short break, and our topic today, funny how it's talking about women but not marriage related. We're talking about discrimination of women in tech, and should this be a concern? Remember, today is our tech and innovation segment, so this is our way of chipping things in. So please stay with us. We'll be right back with our expert guest shortly. Welcome back, viewers, and thank you for sticking with us. So today's topic is on discrimination of women in tech. Should this be a concern? I know your first question is yes, it should be a concern. The underrepresentation and discrimination of women in the tech industry remain a pressing global issue, and Africa is no exception. Despite strides towards inclusivity, women in technology often face systemic biases, unequal opportunities, and workplace discrimination. A recent controversy involving a Kuda Bank executive refusing to take instruction from his female manager reignited conversations about gender bias in the tech space. And this incident is just one of many examples highlighting the challenges women encounter in a male-dominated industry. And today we delve into this issue with Stella Anaele, a cyber girl alumna, cybersecurity advocate, skill development strategist, and community leader dedicated to empowering African youth through technology and education. She has trained and mentored individuals in cybersecurity, digital literacy, and leadership while actively raising awareness on cyber safety through engaging content. Given her expertise and experience, she brings valuable insights into the reality of women in tech, the barriers they face, and what can be done to foster a more inclusive and equitable industry. Good morning, Stella.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, we're super glad to have you join us on today's show and program. We're talking about discrimination for women in tech, and who better to speak about this but someone, a woman who is actively involved in the technological space. So from your experience mentoring in cybersecurity, firstly, I want to give you this background that I'm not asking this question in a very generic manner. I'm asking this question tailored to what you already do in the industry. So I want to hear more of your experiences and things that you have seen so far. From your experiences mentoring in cybersecurity, what are the biggest barriers stopping young women from thriving in tech?
Okay, thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
So yeah, the topic discrimination of women in tech, should it be a concern? I think the question should not even be asked because it's actually a very big concern right now. Yeah, and my role is not just in cybersecurity, is in tech as a whole, right? So although I'm a cybersecurity professional, I have actually heard and personally experienced on certain things in tech as a woman. One of them is the payment. So the payment is usually less. Like it's not transparent until maybe you get to ask your male counterpart, okay, how much are they paying you? Find out that you're probably earning less. Or you probably have knowledge more than that person, and you're earning less than the person. That is one. Two is the stereotype that we cannot handle technical work. So women who want to be technical are actually meant to do the non-technical part of tech, like in cybersecurity. Women who actually want to get involved in network security, that is implementation and installation of the network systems, would be asked or would be given information security roles when maybe it's not their passion, because they believe that women cannot be able to lift wires and do all the technical stuff. And a lot of them, when it comes to microaggressions, to sexual harassment, and what have you. So these are the experiences that I have gathered, not just personal experience, but from people who are also women in tech.
Thank you so much, Stella. I wanted to ask, I mean, you've made mention of the few discriminations, right? The things that we women see in the tech space. So I want to ask, is it a tech-related something, or does it depend on the work environment, the workplace, the work culture? Is it because of the people that are there that's why these things are happening? And just like you said, there's this notion that women, there's some tech-related field that women are not supposed to be there. Once a woman is there, they feel like you are probably not going to impact the way a man would. Do you understand? So, and the way these things are said, it's more like it's the truth and not like a stereotype. So I want you to, expatiate on these things I've said.
Okay, if I get you right, let me start from the last question. For women being in tech, and then for people seeing it like maybe women cannot handle it, I think that is a stereotype and not the truth. So many women I know in cybersecurity are technical, like really, really technical. And it's a personal experience of mine. I had a role one time where I worked, and I'm doing the same thing. But it seemed like I was not doing it right. When my colleague was also doing the same thing. So when I get it right, my colleague gets praised, or nobody gets praised at all. But when I get it wrong, then I would actually be called up to say, oh, this thing, you didn't get it. Although usually in a soft tone. Now, the second question is, your question about if it is, can you just repeat that question? I think I've
Okay, I was saying if it's a systematic issue, right? Is it something that comes with the tech, whatever? Because, I
yes.
mean, it's just like when you see a mechanic, for example, there's that notion of, oh, this mechanic, whatever, is for men and men alone. Do you understand? Or is it a work culture thing?
Yes.
Is it something that it concerns we humans? Just like you made mention of the stereotype. Is it we as humans that is just putting it out there? Or is it like something that should be there? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I somehow just differentiated
Yeah,
it.
I got you.
All right.
I got you. So it's a number of things.
Okay.
It's a combination of these two things. However, stereotypes play more role in it. Now, some organizations are aware right now. There are awareness programs trying to make organizations, leaders, understand that women can take up these leadership roles, can take up technical roles and all that. But the stereotype that women are supposed to princesses. I mean, it's not bad to be a princess, okay? But a princess can also do it. If a princess has the same knowledge that a prince have, then a princess should be able to be allowed to do the same thing the prince is doing, and then earn the same amount of money for the work she has done. So it's basically two things: stereotype, awareness should be created. Secondly, the work culture. If the people in the company does not understand this gender inclusivity, then the work culture is going to be another thing. Then the third one is individual differences. Even if you create awareness, some people may not get it. They will never get it. So then that one is I think that is the biggest problem of all. When you are already aware that this thing you're thinking is not true, but you keep doing it, then that is really, really a very big problem.
All right, thank you so much. Remember in our background introduction, we highlighted A story that really made the papers in recent times, how that a Kuda Bank executive, was reprimanded because he refused to take orders, something around that lane. So now, I want us to take a cue from that, because that was even the inspiration behind this topic, tailored to the fact that Fridays are for tech. So now, how should companies handle cases where male employees refuse to take instruction from female superiors? Because sometimes, if I've watched it in many movies, I've not seen it happen in real life, but I remember a particular movie I watched, and this woman was a high-profile lawyer doing exceedingly well. She also had a high-profile male lawyer with her doing great as well. But then they had this, it's not an intern, but someone below them, a subordinate, who was supposed to defer to both of them. But rather, he would take instruction from the male employee and not take from the female, because he felt like, oh, she's female, she's woman, I have your type at home. I mean, that's a very rubbish statement people say today. So I think, don't you think companies should now start putting some things in place, some checks and balances, where male employees who refuse to take instruction from female superiors are actually reprimanded? How should they handle these cases?
Okay, first of all, I think companies should start from the roots. From the moment you're interviewing someone, you should be able to understand how the person thrives in an inclusive environment. That should be an important thing to consider while employing someone. Secondly, the human resource department that trains the staff, after you get employed, you get to have some basic training about the company culture and all that, right? Code of conduct. So the human resource department should do better, train them, include inclusivity topics. It's not just about women, but people with disabilities, how to handle them. Then, yeah, you talked about checks and balances. There should be checks. There should be consequences for people's actions. People's actions should not just be, just okay, it's just a word he said. If you have to not take instruction from your superior, the superior is your superior, whether a woman or not. Then, if it entails you leaving the company, resigning, being sacked, then the company should do it with immediate effect without considering any gender. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
it should not be because it's a woman. It should be because you did not take instructions. And you should know that a woman leading the position is qualified to lead the position, whether a woman. So you don't have to see the person as a woman or a man. You have to see the person as a human. And once you don't respect the person, you don't respect the human, and don't respect the company. And every other thing should follow suit. Whatever the company has to do to you, then the company should actually take action to do that. Companies that don't have this in place should actually consider putting this in place. It increases business productivity and helps business thrive. So you're not doing it for the woman, you're doing it for your business. Because women and men coming together to work on a project brings diversity, and diversity promotes progress and success. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, get it.
All right, thank you so much, Stella. I want to ask this. Let's talk about the economic impact, right, of having women in tech. Because it's one thing to clamor and talk about it, oh, we need women in tech, women representation, and all of these things. But if we don't see both the positive and negative, both the advantage and disadvantage, impacts that women representation in tech would be to the economy, then there's no need for the conversation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's talk about how the women in the tech space would impact on the society, the economy at large.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say, being a woman, you naturally have some skill, right? So coming into a business, you bring what you have, that's unique advantage that you have to that business, and it promotes the business. I've actually said that first. Secondly, there is workforce gap. The tech industry need human resource. They need workers. And women are there. So if women are empowered to learn these technical skills, to become tech gurus, they would actually bring their own quota into your industry into the world economy, into the country economy. And once they are doing that, everything, like economically, it's going to improve whatever industry they are in. Because where there is skill gap, there is, how will I put it, less productivity. Because a lot of persons, or one person is handling three persons' job, when other persons can do it. When other persons I mean here are women. So with women empowerment, encouraging women to be in tech, you will see um, a fast increase in economic value of the company, the industry, the country, and the global industry at large. So women actually bring a lot to the economic sphere, the economic section rather of this tech industry.
All right, thank you so much. Now, there's something you just mentioned that I'd like us to touch a bit before we go on our short break. You mentioned that women have their unique temperament or their makeup can be to their advantage if they put it into their work. But there's also like an extreme to it where some people feel like some women are too sensitive, right, are too bossy sometimes, and it somehow affects how they even go about their work. So even when there's the idea that a woman who is, orderly, who has great attention to details, also has the ability to be too sensitive because she's a woman. She can be coming from work and she had to deal with her toddler who refused to go to school or something. So they put all that in plate. What do you have to say about, how a woman should handle her unique nature as a woman, even with a career as tech?
Okay, first of all, a lot of women are out there mentoring other women. That's the first thing. There's so many communities like the Cyber Girl Fellowship where I belong. I can tell anybody anything, ranging from relationship to childbirth to marital crisis and all that. So there are support systems for women to talk about what they are going through at the moment. That's one. So women should actually leverage that. Now, going to the extreme, like sensitivity is a good skill, especially in cybersecurity, but not emotional, like you're being too emotional about something. But if you're sensitive, you will look back first before you click a link, before you take an action and all that stuff. But being too sensitive, like, okay, your child is like, it's wrong, that is when you need to get a support group. I should support you. But there's something I need us to look into. Everything we are doing, let's just use in the world of cybersecurity, is to secure the society, is to make the society safer. And honestly, the family is the basic unit of the society. And this woman is basically bringing a child into the world. So I think there should be some level of consider, or should I say rules, some laid down things that should be made by organizations to protect women who probably are just taking care of their toddlers. Because when you just give birth, you just encounter some postpartum depression. There are so many things there. So there should be things in ground for women to succeed. Because when we talk about diversity, it does not mean that a woman is the same with a man. No, a woman is different. That is why it's diversity. So their unique challenges should also be handled as women, not handling them as men. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, get it. All right, we'll have to take this short break. Very interesting conversation, and thank you for opening up and letting us see this objectively. We'll take this short break, our viewers and audience, and we'll be back with more questions to further tackle this. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you, Stella, for joining us in this conversation. Just to confirm, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, perfect. So,
can you hear me?
You know, I mentioned earlier that I want to ask this question based on things that you're already doing. You know, recently I saw personally on a particular space from someone who is really prominent in the tech space, and she mentioned that we're entering that month where everybody's talking about women. We're going to see a lot of events, panel sessions. Everybody wants to talk about how to challenge stereotypes. And it feels like there's just a whole lot of talk that is being done with no real change that is being effected. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's almost like you call a number of people to panel sessions, you are talking. Everybody's mentioning the pay disparity, mentioning the challenges that they face. I want to ask, with the things you're doing, training individuals and all, or the place that you even work, are there policies, strict policies that are being put in place to ensure that talk now becomes action?
Yes. Actually, a lot of companies are beginning to implement this, although some other ones are yet to. But a lot of companies in the place I actually worked, places I actually worked, let me put it that way, there have been considerations of including women. I once heard a former boss of mine asking the website designer to please, because they brought, should I call it advertised, or they placed some staff on the website, right? And it was only one woman that was there, and she was the last on the list. So I was hearing him was like, no, that this is not right. Women should now be out there. Why is she the last on the list? Can she be the second or the third person on the list? That's like, I'm just saying that's a simple considerations. Like, although salaries are being actually increased, although it is not as effective as it is in other countries. Compared to Nigeria, Nigeria is backward when it comes to empowering women, changing these stereotypes, company implementations and all that. However, I think there should be, the advocacy should be shifting from what should we do to what are we doing? Are we doing it? At what extent are we doing it? Is this working for us? And that kind of thing. Those are actionable questions, not what should we do. I mean, what should we do? We highlight the things we already know, the things we have been discussing even before we were born, both of us were born, right? But things that should show results. Okay, what level, what implementation have you put in place? I think ministries like Ministries of Women Affairs, or even if it's the Corporate Affairs Commission, whatever parastatal that is in charge of corporate governance, should be able to stick for implementation of these things, just the way NITS that is seeking for implementation of information privacy and data protection. So they should actively seek for it. Or maybe create a certification that, okay, these people have implemented, submit your implementation policy, then we're going to give you a certificate for that. I think companies will go ahead to do that. And if you don't have that certificate, then it should be something that you should be fined for or something in that nature. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we do. Thank you so much, Stella. Let's quickly go straight into the educational sector, right? So if you look at the way the educational sector is being set, you see that I don't think there's any preparation. I mean, first off, they teach more on theory than even, real practicals, except for certain professional courses like the like of being a medical doctor and the likes. But I've heard many of my friends that, did anything around computer, they'll tell you that almost when we want to put one or two things together in a theory, everything, they say, may you write time, everything, may you write time. It's when they come out to the word that they want to start putting all of those practical and start, So I want to ask, what do you think those things, what do you think are those things that the educational sector should, start putting together in order for them to prepare women into tech? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I do understand you.
Okay.
So basically, I would say that a few private sectors has been trying to implement the STEM program. It's called STEM program, right? They have been trying to implement it with all their mind, but these private sectors are way, way too expensive for the common man. So I think the educational sector should actually implement these things from young age. That is, from KG, from kindergarten. They should implement the STEM program from there. There should be STEM competitions between children, a scholarship given to winners and stuff like that. And when you come to the university too, there should be practicals, like tools should be taught and other things. If you notice there, okay, I would like to give you a bit about my background. I did not study any tech course in the university. I need to inform you that I studied biochemistry. But because some persons have recognized the need for women to be empowered. Basically, I was empowered by a woman called Confidence David. She's the founder of Cyber Safe Foundation, right? So there are NGOs right now implementing these things. Government should find a way to actually support the NGOs if they cannot do it directly from the government parastatals. Support these NGOs. Some NGOs are dedicated to primary, that's early childhood learning. Support them to implement tech programs. Support the ones that are focusing on secondary school education. Support the ones that are focusing on young adults, which is basically covering the university students. You will see natural talents, people that are born to be in tech, but because of lack of advice, lack of direction, lack of support, they are in one career and they are not thriving as they should be thriving. So I think these are the ways that the government, the individuals, and the not-for-profit organizations can actually help to make sure that women are being included in the tech industry.
All right. Thank you so much. Very inspiring as well. I mean, this is already giving us solution-focused contribution. Now, there is also the initiative that when you hire and increase female representation in tech, you somehow solve the problem. I want to ask, does it really apply, or are we merely masking it? Imagine an organization, a tech company that, because we want to break that stereotypes, our recruitment percentage will have more women than men. Does it really solve the problem, or is just a simple way to mask this thing? And then when we even see the 70% of women there, they still face the problem from those 30% men. Do you get my question?
Okay, I get your question. First of all, the goal is not to have 70% women and 30% men. The goal is to have equal chances for women, just the way we have equal chances for men, right? If a man knows it and a woman knows it, then they should be given equal chances to compete for the same thing. Now, back to your question, are we really masking it? I would not want to say no, yes, but the answer is actually no. We are not masking it. Now, there are research out there. I think I was reading one. If I don't get the names well, please pardon me. I think one McKinsey. I read it. it was like women in the industry, the inclusion of the industry, companies that have included women and increased the inclusion of women in their companies have seen notable improvements in profits. I mean profits, not just work culture, profits. Secondly, I think World Economic Forum, something, yeah, if that is the exact completion of the organization's name, I'm sorry, but I think it's something like that, has also written something in that line. So, and this is not just what they are writing, this is something they go into research for, do their statistics, and then bring it up for us. So, yes, I'm saying we are not masking it. Women bring a lot. The same things that men bring, women bring a lot to the organization and help to improve profit, company success, even company's reputation.
All right, thank you so much, Stella. So I want to talk about this stereotype that I've heard people say a lot. That I mean, they say that when it comes to the tech world now, that it's really, there's no like longevity, that it doesn't give, you know, there's no long time that you're going to, I mean, it doesn't make, let me put it in this format. Now, this person always complain that if you take other professions or other courses, I mean, you can be there till the end, like, I mean, 50, 40, and all of that. But when it comes to the tech, because of the competitiveness and all of that, it just makes it very, you know, very shaky for you to stay put, staying in tech. So now that we are talking about women, and we know all the things that the women faces, you know, we have the time where you get married, the time where you're giving birth, all of these times also add to, you know, your time being in a career. So how sure are you now that when a woman stays in tech, she'll be able to stay there for a long time? And if there are difficulties, how is she, what are the strategies for her to, you know, just triumph in that sense?
Okay, so I would say for individual women, this is something that does not have to do with being a woman, first of all. It's something that has to do with a particular person, right? So some people come to an industry and they decide to maybe leave. That is if I understand your question correctly. They decide to leave the industry for one reason or the other. It's either they are finding their passion. So if you asking me how sure am I that women stay in an industry, you're asking the same question as how sure are you that a person is going to stay in an industry for long. So basically, it's not about women. There are so many women that have stayed in this industry for long. Like, do you even know that one of the first if not the first programmer, is a woman. I think her name is. Women had been there in tech. It's not like we have been there in tech. There are women that I can mention. I think Funke Okweke. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that name well. Funke Okweke has been there too, like in tech. I think she's the owner of Main One. So those are people, women that have stayed long in tech, and I think that's a proof that women can actually stay long in tech. We have people that have proven that, and it's not really a question of women staying in tech, it's a question of somebody staying in tech, not the power of women.
Okay. Now, the fact that you have mentioned this, I'm looking at promotion practices for women, because it looks like we've been talking about the different women faces and how sometimes it's almost like it doesn't really benefit them. I remember attending a particular session, and this person was, he was like a director for that particular firm, and somebody called to his attention that across the top 5 leaders in that firm, which includes finance, human resource, you know, different other bodies, different directors mentioned. He said, have you noticed that you do not see many women take that position? You can see maybe 4 men and just 1 woman in that top director position in that sense. And he did a survey and realized that it's not like they were really segregating women, but sometimes it's like when women are climbing up the ladder, there's this phase that hits them. And so sometimes they take some leave or try to sort some family issues. I'm just using it very lightly now. And so when they come back, being integrated back into their system takes another sort of climbing up. So it feels as if promotion practices is not somehow fair for women because of the many other things that are personal and they have to deal with. So I'm wondering, we've been opening up a lot of myth and misconception because this program is actually to open up all of this. How do you think promotion practices can become fairer for women, even when they have to handle all their personal stuff?
Okay, thank you very much. So if you remember during the beginning of this conversation, I mentioned something. Women's challenges should be faced as women challenges. And men challenges should be faced as men challenges. I don't know if you understand me.
Yeah.
So for you expecting a woman who just conceived in 2 weeks to come back to work, not looking at the importance of what she is doing for the society, it's actually a very big problem. That's first of all. So if you notice, some organizations, they are very uncomfortable with giving maternal leave. Very, very uncomfortable. They have a problem recruiting a pregnant woman. I don't know if you know all these things.
True.
They have a problem knowing fully whether this woman is going to be pregnant for 9 months and likely going to work for 9 months. They have a problem with recruiting these people. So basically, when it comes to promotion practices, companies tend to consider all these things before they promote women. So 2 things are involved. 1, it could be from the company, and 2, it could be imposter syndrome creeping in on the woman. And this imposter syndrome is not a woman thing. It is everybody's thing. And it's not about the level you are, whether you are at number A or you are at number Z in the company. You will always meet imposter syndrome. So I think personally, on a personal level, women should seek support. Mentorship is important. There is no stage you get in life that you don't need it. Mentorship should be important. Support groups for women should be created to tackle some of these challenges. Companies should handle women as women. You cannot, because I am a woman, you decide not to make me maybe a CEO, CISO. CISO means Chief Information Security Officer in Cyber Security. Because I'm a woman. Have you also forgotten that there are women who own the same company as your own company? And they are also giving birth. So how are they handling it? We should actually go and meet the CEOs and ask them, and then implement their whatever they give us to these policies that we are crafting for promotion. You cannot craft the same policy for promotion for a man with a woman, because a man sometimes don't really have to go for maternity leave in some countries. And a woman needs it because health-wise, she needs it for herself and for the child. So I think inclusion of remote work for women too should be something that should be considered. At some point in their lives or life challenges, women should be allowed to work from home. There should be a bit of flexibility in some of these things. Now, don't think that these things will reduce productivity. No, it won't reduce productivity. For a woman who has worked from 0 to the stage that she has gotten to be promoted to that level, no, I don't think it's going to reduce productivity from that woman. It's actually a way of encouraging women, your sisters, your mothers, your wife, to go out there and then bring something to the table, as they always ask us, what do you
bring to the table? Very interesting. So as we begin to wrap up the show, I just want to have your opinion on this matter, because it looks like when we talk about women, we're talking about the older women and the discrimination that they face. But then we have this new influx of Gen Zs into the tech space as well. Do you think that, younger women or youth like us also face discrimination like this, or the tech industry has somehow found a way to accept this diversity as well, or their unique perspective?
So there's limitation as how Gen Zs are considered, okay, are actually challenged, okay. So Gen Zs have their own unique challenges, of course, similar to older women, but they also have their own unique challenges. Gen Zs have started giving birth. But let's talk about those who have not started giving birth, right? I mean, even myself, have not started giving birth. So most times, somebody considers, oh, she's going to be taking maternity leave. I'm not married. So she's not going to be taking maternity leave. She has all the time to herself and all that. So yeah, these challenges are quite different when it
Different.
comes to that aspect. But when it comes to promotion, I think I should make Nigeria as a case study. When it comes to promotion of younger people, it depends on the city. I give it up to Abuja. Abuja promotes you even if you're younger, you know what you're doing in an industry. And I'm serious about it. This is
Wow.
something I've experienced. They promote you if you're young. So, but now, the only problem is that women aspect comes in again. They start looking at she's a woman. And let's give it to the guy. For some of them, not all of them. So let's give it to the guy. She's a woman. A lot of things there. I don't want woman wala. No, those kind of talks, right?
Sentiments.
But other cities, I wouldn't want to mention, would want older women first. They look at the age before they look at the competence. I mean, age plays a lot of roles in life experiences. But I think capability and technical know-how also has its own role to play. And if your promotion criteria has to do with technical know-how, and somebody who is of a younger age meets that criteria, I think the person should be promoted.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for shedding light on this important topic. And we hope to have you back again soon. I mean, we're entering Women's Month, so we are going to have conversations like this, over time. Thank you to my co-anchor for your insightful contribution. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us on this important discussion. We've wrapped breakfast for this week, but on Monday, we resume again through to Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Don't miss it for anything. Bye.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?